Hi, hello, what's up? So today I'm going to be talking about the dating game killer.
What do you look like?
I'm called the banana.
Spooky, right? Anyways, I'm not sure how to start this, so I'll do just that and start talking. The dating game killer, known as Rodney James Alcala, was born August 23rd of 1943 and has been proven guilty of 9 homicides. When I start talking, you'll see why he's probably committed many more, but from a legal, lawful standpoint, he's only killed 9 people. Alcala was born with the name, and I'm gonna say this really American, because I can't roll my R's, but, here we go. Rodrigo Jaques Alcala Booker. When he was around the age of 8, him and his family moved from San Antonio to Mexico because his grandmother wanted to live the rest of her life in Mexico. 3 years later, Alcala's father walked out and moved back to the United States. Alcala's mother then moved him and his 2 sisters to Los Angeles. In 1961, when Alcala was 17, he joined the U.S. Army as a clerk. He served for 3 years until he had what was described as a nervous breakdown, during which he ended up going AWOL and hitchhiked back to his mother's house. Upon his arrival back at Fort Bragg, the fort he had been serving, he was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. He was then honorably discharged. After being discharged, he graduated from the UCLA School of Fine Arts and studied film as an apprentice. 4 years after his discharge, he committed his first horrifying crime. In 1968, a passerby witnessed Alcala luring an 8-year-old girl into his apartment. The girl's name was Tali Shapiro. The witness called the police, and upon their arrival they found Tali alive but unconscious. She had been raped and beaten with a steel bar. The police then had to make the choice to help the near lifeless girl, or to chase after the suspect. They made the call to save Tali, and Alcala got away. Tali survived this brutal event, although she was in a coma for 32 days. She's still alive today. Alcala fled across the country all the way to New York and enrolled in the NYU Film School under an alias John Berger. I know it's pronounced Berger, but Berger is funnier, and I don't have to listen to you, so get over it. Also, in 1971, he gets a job as a counselor at a summer camp in New Hampshire under the name of John Berger, not Berger. He changed it to Berger. That June, he strangled and raped 23-year-old Cornelia Michel Crilley, but this case had remained unsolved until 2011, when it was linked back to John Berger, aka Rodney Alcala. In the government's desperation to catch Alcala, the FBI added him to the top 10 most wanted list. 2 children attending the camp that Alcala worked at recognized their counselor's picture from a wanted poster at the post office and promptly informed authority. Alcala was brought back to California to await trial for his previous crime towards Tali Shapiro. Her and her family had moved to Mexico and refused to allow Tali to testify against Alcala, and without the primary witness, authorities were unable to convict him of rape and attempted murder. He was charged with child molestation and was sentenced to 3 years, but if you ask me, that's like nothing. Only 3 years for traumatizing and nearly killing a kid? It was even worse. He was released in 1974 after only 17 months on parole. He was rearrested after 2 months of being free for assaulting a 13-year-old girl who was only identified as Julie J in court cases. Julie J accepted what she thought was a ride to school by Rodney Alcala. He was paroled again after 2 years. After his second release, his parole officer allowed Alcala, a known flight risk, to board a plane and fly to New York, where it is believed by cold case investigators that he killed 23-year-old Ellen Jane Hover, daughter of the owner of nightclub Kairos in Hollywood, and the goddaughter of Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. She was buried under large boulders on a hillside above the Hudson River. Around 1978, he managed to convince hundreds of young men and women that he was a photographer and needed modeling photos for his portfolio. He would have these children pose in often provocative and scandalous positions, and he would photograph them and compliment them to seem less creepy, I guess. This portfolio of his also included very explicit photos of nude young boys, and in a later testimony, it was revealed that he raped 15-year-old Monique Hoyt while she was modeling for him. Alcala was dubbed the name the dating game killer after being on the popular 70s game show of the same name in 1978.
Come on, over here.
In this game, a celebrity woman would select from a group of eligible bachelors to go on a date with without seeing their faces, and only asking this group various questions. Alcala claimed to be a successful photographer who enjoys skydiving and motorcycling. Fellow bachelors described him as strange with bizarre opinions. He ended up winning the game, but the woman, Michel Bradshaw, found him creepy and refused to go through with the date. Anyways, back to the murders. 12-year-old Robin Samsoe was found 12 days after her disappearance. She disappeared while she was leaving the beach. Police worked with Samsoe's friends to sketch a man which was circulated and was later seen by Alcala's parole officer who recognized him. The police searched Alcala's mother's house and were able to find a rental receipt for a storage locker in Seattle. In this locker they found Samsoe's earrings, confirming Alcala was linked to the crime. He was arrested in July of 1979, tried, convicted, and sentenced to death for murder. The verdict was overturned by the California Supreme Court. He was held in prison until his new trial in 1986. In this new trial, he was sentenced to death a second time. This conviction was nullified by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in 2001 due to a witness being hypnotized by police investigators. I don't know what that means, but, you know. His final trial was in 2010 when he represented himself and interrogated himself in third person. He literally turned, questioned himself in a slightly deeper voice, turned back and answered his question in his normal voice. I couldn't find any footage of this, but I would do a lot of things to see that. He died on July 24th, 2021 of natural causes while still on death row. Thanks for actually watching the video. Subscribe, like, YouTuber stuff. I hope you have a good rest of your day, or if it's late, I hope you sleep well. Bye.